I'm just going to go a little bit more into, I mean, how many people are joining right now? There's nine. Okay. I'm just going to go a little bit more into this, explanation of advertising, and then we can maybe break out into the rooms. Okay.
With and you know what, Manny, we'll just do two. If there's only nine people, we'll just do two groups, right? Do a group of four and five, which is who we have, and they can just still brainstorm, even though there might not be everybody in the same team. You guys can still talk about ideas, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So one of the key elements of that of the Santa Claus thing that we saw is that they were looking at a demograph. So you guys also need to keep in mind the demograph that you are looking for. So some researchers needed here. So you guys would go on and say, okay, independent filmmakers, from what age are they starting making films? Now, we're not going to gear the commercial towards maybe the 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, because these guys are not interested in filmmaking. So we'll probably start from the age of 14 and up, right? So that's important to know your demographic. So understanding the age, the gender, the income level as well of your viewers. So you guys can do some research on that and have some discussions on that. Also, the psychographics, what kind of lifestyles, values, opinions, and behaviors influence these viewers that you're going to sell the commercial to. So we know that for filmmakers, they are creative and artistic. So that's some of the values they hold very important and dear to them. So you want to make sure that you know that about your target audience. And why does this matter? This matters because a commercial targeting teenagers will use different language, music, and visuals compared to targeting senior citizens, for example. So it's very important that you know your demographic. That's the first objective if you guys go into the breakout rooms. The second is the message. What is the core message? What is the one thing that you want your viewers to remember after they watch the commercials? Is it the message should be clear, concise, and compelling. So, is it um, you should be able to just state in one sentence what your core message is, because the more you simplify it, the easier the message will be to get across. And for example, for what we do a lot for CineaCloud is that it's all in one solution, an end-to-end solution for all your filmmaking needs. That's the message we want to get across every single time we convey an ad. But it doesn't mean that it has to be for you guys. You guys can change your core message when it comes to the CineaCloud. So emotional versus rational appeal. So emotional focus on making the audience feel something, whether it's joy or sadness or fear. Example is Nike's Just Do It commercials, right? They're motivating. They work on your emotions. And then there's rational, focuses on logic and facts, such as the product feature or benefit or price. These are usually car commercials, right? You're going to get X, Y, and Z. And this is why you should buy it, because there's also going to be a savings of, only of 1.99% interest rate when you buy the car. So that's the second most important thing, is the message. The third is the storytelling in TV ads, the narrative structure. You have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So a setup, a problem, and a resolution, mostly in that order, but you can kind of switch back and forth, but sometimes that could be confusing. So you need a beginning, middle, and end, and you should be able to clearly state this is the beginning of the commercial, this is the middle of the commercial, and this is the end or the resolution. Now, sometimes in story telling in TV ads, you have character development, believe it or not, even in short ads. And this is more like creating a relatable character, which can help viewers connect emotionally with the brand. Now, that could be someone giving a testimonial, as simple as that. It could be a funny character, or it could be something as extreme as creating a new character like Santa Claus, for example. And then you have the conflict and resolution. Ads often present a problem that the product helps solve. So, these are small little arcs in the story. So you have someone who, let's just say, if you're doing a commercial and they can't, they're disorganized. So you see a whole bunch of files and papers, and and hard drives everywhere located in a room. And then CineaCloud, what it does is condenses everything. So you don't need all the paper, you don't need all the emails, you don't need all the hard drives. So there's a problem, and then the product solves that problem. Now, once you get the target audience down, the messaging and the storytelling in the ads, the next thing is the visual and audio elements. So what kind of cinematography are you guys going to do? Is the style of the camera work, lighting, and framing is very crucial here. So it can go from very highly stylized, like again, car commercials, to minimal and realistic, like IBM commercials or Dell commercials for computers, for example, or Google commercials, which is very, very, even some of it's just, screenshots after screenshots. You also have to take into account, sorry, music and sound effects. So music is key to setting up the tone and mood. Many iconic ads are remembered as for their jingles. I think as Evie was saying that sometimes just, or Anna was saying sometimes the sound or the jingle is what you remember more than anything. One example is McDonald's "Do do do I'm loving it" commercial. That it stays with you. Sound effects as well is important as well. So if, for example, if you're watching someone use the CineaCloud app, and they're working fiercely on their laptop, well, you want to have that clicking of the keyboard, right, in the ad. That's going to convey speed and urgency, right? If they're clicking very fast, but if you have somebody typing on the keyboard and you don't have that clicking or that sound effect, it takes away from the shot. And then you have voiceover, which is also important. A lot of the times, you can have the voiceover guide the viewer through the ad and give them the key information and highlight key information. So don't overlook the voiceover. That's important because sometimes people have good, you guys are working with friends maybe on the commercial, or maybe you're hiring somebody and you do a casting call. They look great on camera, but as soon as they open their mouth, you can tell that their acting is just not up at par. Well, you can solve that problem by just having voiceover, right? You can use them visually because they play the role properly, but you don't have to have them speak. Okay, so that's very important to keep the voiceover in mind when you're doing the commercial. Now, the next thing, right, we're going to work on now is just, yeah. Somebody was going to say something. Sorry.
No, I was gonna also say maybe we can also talk about jingles. Basically, there's a jingles are an important part of commercials that a lot of people don't know about. But there's a whole group of people that specifically make jingles or songs for commercials. So it's a whole nother part of the industry. There's a little video I have that we could play too about jingles, Manny, if you want.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
maybe I don't know if we should maybe we can play that next week. We'll save
yeah,
that for next week. You know why? Because it's not a lot of people here. So we can talk about that. But that's not another aspect of commercials that you guys should look at. And you can do your own research on the history of jingles. Like if you think of some of the most popular commercials, some of them have like a jingle that stays in your head. Like Oscar Mayer Wiener was the big one for us. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid, you know.
yeah. The
There's a lot
McDonald's
of
one for you guys that we just talked about is probably,
yeah, so there's a lot of how can I say it? They put a lot of effort in the psychology of people in commercials, and they really look at what stays in your head. It's just like you know you, even with the music industry, a lot of people don't realize the whole issue with singles. Before artists used to just put out their albums, there was no such thing as a single, right? Or release. And then they realize, hey, if we look at the most, you know, commercial song now that's on an album that, has like a hook to it that people will remember and stay in your head, that's what they put out to hook you on the artist and hook you to wanting to buy the album or listening to more of their songs. And it's the same concept with a jingle.
Yeah, and you guys don't have to create a jingle from scratch. To Jay's point, it's a lot of there's a lot of licensed and artists that are willing to give those songs or those jingles. They put them out on YouTube. You can reach out to them, or there's a lot of stock sites that you can get them for free as well, and you can incorporate those jingles because it does influence how the commercial makes the feel. So that isn't, to Jay's point, that is a very often overlooked aspect of it. So keep that in mind as well when you guys are brainstorming. You guys can just jot down some of your own favorite jingles and then maybe go out and look at for similar kind of themes in the music that's available online. So let's break out into the breakout rooms and we'll do some, you guys can just do some brainstorming, just concept development. So that's basically, again, outlining your demographics, the psychographics, including lifestyle, why it matters, the core message you want to get across. Is it emotional versus rational appeal? Remember, emotion focused on either joy or sadness or fear or motivation. Rational is more logic, facts, and features of the product. And then you can look at if there's a character in there, if you want to make the character stand out, and then the what problem the product is trying to solve. So what problem is CineaCloud trying to solve, or what how it can benefit anyone buying the product.
Yeah. And Manny, I guess what we should do too, maybe is just kind of let you guys have a better understanding of what CineaCloud is. I know we've been talking about the app and we're doing the training, but what we've tried to do with CineaCloud is, we wanted to create a solution for filmmaking, right? So think of it as you're an independent filmmaker, you're struggling to organize your production, you're struggling to get all the people together and have them all on the same page to communicate and make sure all the information on the production is in one place and basically be able to see everything that you're doing on one table, right? That's kind of what CineaCloud represents. It's, and also the technical, logical point of it, it's in the cloud. It's easy for everyone to access the information. So, if you look at what we're doing here, we're talking about filmmaking, and in the background, there's a platform that you can put all of your ideas down, create your ideas, organize your production, create your production, put all the pieces together in one place. So that's kind of what CineaCloud represents. So when you go on the site and you look at it, that's really what it is. It's we wanted to just create a solution that would help filmmakers of all shapes and sizes, be able to organize their production.
So anytime you guys want more information on any of the specific apps, I know because we haven't touched on all the apps, we're still on pre-production yet still. So we're not on production, post, and distribution. You can still just send us an email or just give us a call. And we can say, okay, this is what it does in terms of editing, and this is what it does in terms of distribution. And then that way you can, if you want to do an ad specifically tailored for distribution or for pre-production or for production, we can help you guys out on that. But we will go through all of the apps and everything that it does. But as to Jay's point right now, you can keep in mind that it is an all-in-one solution. So everything you need from beginning to end to do your film, do your ad, do your commercial in one place. Any questions about the product app? Okay. So what we'll do is, Jay, do we want to just, I'll put everyone in breakout rooms then. Just give me 1 second, guys, while I do.